Welcome to the Skip and Shannon Undisputed podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. You can catch us Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific on FS1. Here's what this podcast is all about. It's an unscripted, unfiltered, undisputed version of the day's show, and there is a lot to get into in today's podcast. Skip has faith that Magic Johnson can restore the Lakers to their glory days, but can he recover from missing out on DeMarcus Cousins? And is Deshaun Watson the next Dak Prescott? Why Shannon believes that's a lazy comparison. Plus, Skip tells you which NFL team should trade for Jay Cutler, and Shannon disagrees. Let's debate. The big news here in LA, Magic Johnson was named the president of basketball operations yesterday by Lakers co-owner Jeannie Buss. Jeannie's brother and fellow co-owner Jim Buss was relieved of his duties along with general manager Mitch Kupchak. Magic has reportedly already hired Kobe Bryant's agent Rob Pelinka to be the team's new general manager. Last night, Magic made his first move, trading Lou Williams to the Rockets. Let's take a listen to Magic.
I don't want to fool the fans, right? We're going to build this thing the right way. It's not a quick fix. I'm not a quick fix. I can't turn it around tomorrow, or I really would be Magic, right? But I think that what I'm smart enough to understand that if we do it the right way, then we can turn it around. If you could draw up your dream job, right, what would it be? This would be it.
Skip, how will Magic do in his new job?
Laker Nation, I have a message for you. Happy days are here again. Way to go, Jeannie Buss. I want to congratulate Jeannie for having the guts to do what she obviously should have done about 2 years ago.
You said the right word, Skip. Guts.
It took guts. And I don't condemn her for this because it's hard to come to grips with firing your brother from a job that the father wanted the brother to have. Mm-hmm. May he rest in peace, Dr. Buss. But she did apologize for dragging her feet. And in the end, even Magic pointed out that 2 years ago, he wouldn't have been comfortable enough with all of his many business ventures, maybe to take on the very full-time job that is turning around the Los Angeles Lakers. So it all worked fortuitously, and I believe that Magic Johnson will slowly but surely return some 80s magic to this basketball team, that it will sooner than later become a contending team again under Magic Johnson. But I want to either qualify or disqualify myself going in. I got to tell you, I know Magic very well. I love Magic Johnson. Maybe to a fault. Maybe I don't have any objectivity here, but I believe in Magic Johnson. And every challenge he has ever faced in his life, and we all know he faced some big ones. The
one that he overcame in 91.
I'd say that's about as big as it gets.
Yeah.
And he has always figured out how to overcome every challenge in his life, in business or in his personal life. And I believe in this man because nobody I've ever been around works harder than this man at figuring things out, at acquiring advice from all the people that he knows around this country. He will figure this job out slowly but surely. But that said, the last straw for Jeannie Buss became the first major blow to me to Magic's new regime. And that was the DeMarcus Cousins trade. And I sat right here and I told you, I think on Monday.
We did.
Were you with me? I can't remember if you were with me on
Metal World
this.
Peace said he wouldn't do it. I said, what are we waiting on?
Brandon Ingram was what they were waiting on. And by many reports last night, according to many reports, that Jeannie and Magic both felt left in the dark over what happened over the weekend involving Jim Buss and Mitch Kupchak, now the former GM. Because for some reason they decided that their pride was too great in their recent first-round pick of Brandon Ingram to give him up straight up for DeMarcus Cousins. Would happy days have been here now if Magic Johnson could start fresh, rebuilding around DeMarcus Cousins? Because I'm going to point out to people once again, I realize his volatility with the referees and all of his psychological issues, but a player averaging 28, 11, and 5 assists does not come on the market very often. In fact, the last one who did was named Wilt Chamberlain. So that's how rare it was for a player of this magnitude to be available. And Jeannie was furious that they didn't close the deal that she wanted closed over the weekend. So whatever fell apart, if it was just over Brandon Ingram, what a blow to Magic Johnson, because he was out of the loop and now he's in the loop, and now all he can do is hope to try to tank his way into a top 3 lottery pick, because that's the only way he's going to protect the first-round pick that could go to Philadelphia if they're 4 or lower in the draft.
No, just keep playing like they're playing. They don't have to.
Okay, well,
just keep playing like you're playing.
Well, his first sweet move, as in Sweet Lou Williams, was to trade Lou Williams. So now you got him. You got something back for him. You got a first-round pick.
Correct.
And you needed to get him off your books because he's too good. He might win you some games that you don't want to win down the stretch. So I hate it for Magic that he gets thrown into a situation in which the great Magic Johnson has to concentrate on losing games, but that's what he has to do right now. But I still say, slowly but surely, starting next year, Magic Johnson will turn the Lakers back into the Lakers.
I agree with you, Skip. I think he'll do very, very well. And Magic knows talent when he sees it. I think he'll be better in this role than he was in his coaching role, because ex-players have a hard time coaching because the way they approached it, winning was the end-all, be-all. They lived, they slept, they breathed. Everything about them was about winning. And when players that they're coaching don't feel that same way, they have a problem with that. So I believe Magic, knowing the talent, what he's looking for. Now, he and Luke Walton, they'll get together and say, okay, Luke, what do we want to do? What type of player would you like to have to fit into what we already have that can make us get us back to being the Lakers? Because, Skip, at the end of the day, we love Golden State. They got a nice little shiny thing going. The Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron and the King, we know that. But look, there's really only 3 gold standard franchises: the Knicks, the Lakers, and the Celtics. And 2 of the 3 are going to miss the playoffs this year probably. That's not good for the NBA.
Yep.
I'm glad that Magic got this opportunity. And it seems to me, and this we'd have to do some research, but it seems to me ex-players make better talent evaluators than coaches.
A little better, I would agree. It's just harder for a great player to coach average players because they look and say, why can't you do what I did?
Right.
And it drives them crazy quickly, and it all falls apart.
Because if you look at Jerry West has had success, I'm talking about great success. Danny Ainge now, Larry Bird. And then you go to the football side of the thing, you go John Elway, you got Ozzie Newsome, the great Hall of Fame players that are great at evaluating players. They have some young pieces, Skip, that they're going to have to part ways with. Because if this was an NCAA basketball team, I would pick them to win the finals. Because they got a bunch of guys that's 6'5" to 6'9" that play the exact same position. You got Clarkson coming off the bench, and you got D'Angelo Russell. I'm moving one of them and getting me a piece.
I would move D'Angelo. That's just me. I've never been a big fan. That's just me.
Because at the end of the day, they were the Showtime Lakers, but when they needed a basket, guess what they did? Magic Johnson would hold up one hand, one finger. He dumped the ball down to Kareem. Kareem could throw the sky hook. Jeannie Buss and Magic Johnson looking like, hold on. We had an opportunity to get DeMarcus Boogie Cousins for Brandon Ingram.
Yep.
Not only did you not tell me about it, you turned this deal down. You got to go.
It's killer. I agree.
Because this is the way I look at it. Boogie Cousins right now is averaging 28 and 11. Skip, in order for you not to do this deal, you better believe that Brandon Ingram, moving forward at some point in time in his career, is going to be better than what Boogie Cousins is right now. That's the only way you can say, no, I'm not doing this deal. Because if he doesn't give you double-doubles like Boogie gives you on a nightly basis, because you're saying by holding on to this young man that he's going to be better than what Boogie Cousins is right now.
I agree.
You got Julius Randle. You got his dad won the dunk contest, Larry Nance Jr.
Yes.
They're really the same guy, Skip. And then these contracts, Luol Deng. Skip, Luol Deng hadn't been good since he was in Chicago, early Chicago, and you give him a big deal.
They gave him a big deal.
And then Mozgov,
they gave a big deal to.
Skip, I understand that you had to spend some money.
Just to be respectable,
But Skip, you got to do more. You got to do your due diligence. You just can't spend money just because you got to spend it. And that's what, look, I understand that Dr. Butts put in parameters that he wanted his son to take over. But he also put in parameters that if things weren't going well, my daughter is going to have the authority to get you up out of here.
Yep.
And it takes guts. Not a whole lot of people, Skip, can fire their brother or can fire a family member. Because I can tell you, when you get fired, there's a little animosity. And when it comes from a family member, there's probably going to be a lot of animosity.
I would think so.
I really do hope that Magic can turn this thing around quick. And he says it's not going to be quick, or he really would be Magic. But I think Magic getting the talent, Luke Walton, the head coach, saying, okay, this is what we need. this is the type of offense that I want to run. These things can meet, and the Lakers can get back to doing what they were known to do. Because you saw in the background when you saw that picture, you saw all those gold Larry O'Briens. That's what it's about. You play with the Knicks, you play with the Lakers and the Celtics. It's about those trophies. It's not about anything else. That's what it's about. The only thing that I hope what Magic does is that Magic knows, but he needs to hire somebody that knows what he doesn't know. See, Skip, if I'm on a boat with a buddy of mine, one of us need to know how to swim. We both can't not swim. So you can't have two guys that's never had front office experience in this opportunity.
Hence, Rob Pelinka.
Right. So
Kobe's agent.
What Magic has done, his success, is that he knew when he got Starbucks, he went to Howard Schultz. And he said, look, I know you like to sell scones, but scones are not going to sell in Compton. They're not going to sell in Inglewood. I need some sweet potato pie. I need some bean pies up in here. So he knew what he knew. Howard Schultz says, okay, this man knows his community. This is what we're going to do. The Magic Johnson Theaters. Hey, we need some strawberry. We need some root beer. We need some stuff that the people in my community, that's what they're going to drink. So Magic knows what he knows in business. I just hope he can transfer and says, okay, I don't have any front office experience. I need someone that has something or that knows something about front office management as far as sports and can handle the cap and can help me move these pieces. They got to move some of this young talent and get a proven commodity. And Boogie would have been a great start.
He would have been. And can you imagine Magic Johnson mentoring Boogie Cousins? Would that not have worked?
Yes.
Unfortunately, that didn't work. Now, one underrated rise in the organization now will take place, and that is Ryan West, the son of Jerry West, who's been just a bit player in all this. I believe Magic will make him a key player in all this, and I think he's he will draw upon the knowledge of his father, who's obviously overseeing the Golden State operation.
But his father's going to be a free agent. I'll be looking to bring his dad back.
Or in some capacity.
Yes, absolutely.
I would agree with that. And hopefully, long run, starting sooner than later, free agents will finally open their eyes back up to the Los Angeles Lakers.
And bring Kareem. Can you imagine if Kareem was working with Boogie?
Well, unfortunately,
yeah.
Well,
I can't believe Mitch Kupchak and Jim Buss did this.
Well,
yeah, that was their parting gift to Magic Johnson.
They missed the bus on this one.
Absolutely. Well, it's great news for the NBA and for Laker Nation. No mercy. ESPN reported that the Chicago Bears are actively trying to trade Jay Cutler. Cutler has been a starter for 8 years in Chicago, but he has only led them to the playoffs once. Back in 2010, Cutler only played 5 games this season. Skip, should anyone take a chance on Cutler?
Here we go again.
Yeah. Talk about your buddy. Tell him where you're from, Skip.
I will in just a moment. Thank you very much for teeing me up. If I desperately needed a quarterback right now and I were the coach or GM of an NFL team, I reluctantly would take a shot on Jay Cutler, who's only 33 years of age.
Skip,
and guess what? Guess what, Mr. Sharp? A man you know very well named Mike Shanahan has a son who's now a new first-time head coach of the San Francisco 49ers.
Don't do it, Kyle.
I will bet you that Kyle Shanahan, thanks to his father's advice, will say, you know what? I'm going to try to make a first-year splash in San Francisco with one Jay Cutler because my father once upon a time traded up in the draft to take Jay Cutler with the 11th overall pick. You know
what I'm doing right now?
You're texting
I'm texting Mike Shanahan right now.
You know, I got him in my phone, too. I should go text him and say, don't listen to Shannon.
No, I got to do it, Skip, because I know you up to no good, Skip. I'm
not up to no good. I'm just telling you what's going to come down the pike sooner than later. The Shanahans are going to take a shot at Jay Cutler.
I'm actually doing it.
Okay, now I'm
Go ahead.
Okay, that's enough of that. So, to me, I have come to this conclusion. Jay Cutler has become the most frustrating player in NFL history because of the position he plays. Every year, there's a third to almost a half of NFL teams either aren't sold on their quarterback or are desperately looking for another quarterback. Am I right about that? And it's a quarterback's game. And Jay Cutler, at only 33 years of age, still has a top 5 arm in this league. And by the way, Jay Cutler, in his career, has thrown 208 touchdown passes, which ranks 35th all time. That's pretty great. 35th all time for a 33-year-old. He throws a bunch of touchdown passes. But we all know he also throws a whole bunch of interceptions because he's led the league twice in interceptions, although Eli's led it 3 times. But that's a whole nother issue.
Skip. This is not about Eli.
I had to throw that in. So you're right about this. Jay Cutler went to my school, the best school in America, Vanderbilt University. And in his junior year, back on my old show, you can check the tape, I started to beat the drum for this kid Cutler. I said he is going to play pro football at a high level. And, of course, everybody laughed at me. A quarterback from doormat Vanderbilt in the SEC is going to make it in the NFL? And all Jay did his senior year was be SEC Offensive Player of the Year, no big deal. And all Mike Shanahan did, and I think you respect Mike Shanahan. Doesn't he know a thing or two about offense and quarterback play?
He does.
Thank you very much.
He
traded up. He traded up to take Jay one pick. Anyway, take him 11th overall. I won't go into all the details, but I'm dwelling on Vanderbilt Hill too long. But look, the point was that 2 years ago, I quit defending Jay Cutler because it finally came clear to me that pro football for him is just a job. It's just a way to make money. He's got 3 kids now and a wife he seems to love, and he has a great home life, and that's his focus now. Pro football is something he does to make money. He doesn't want to be the leader of a pro football team. He doesn't want that responsibility. Well, he's not cut out to be a leader.
And did you see him on that boat in Mexico?
Hey, I see him everywhere.
Ooh.
Okay? And Jay Cutler, if he throws an interception, he's just going to shrug and say, you know what, I'll throw a touchdown pass next time, and he probably will throw a touchdown pass next time. And I'm going to point out to you, one of the great games he's played in recent memory was on opening night at Levi's Stadium, where the 49ers now play. When they opened it on a Sunday night early 2 years ago, he threw 3 second-half touchdown passes to beat a San Francisco team that looked like it was coming off a long, good run with obviously Colin Kaepernick at quarterback. And the point was that he looked great that night. He looked great a couple times this past year. He only played 5 games, but he had a couple 300-yard games. Okay, he does. Okay, I get it. But if you're the 49ers or if you're the Jets right now and you could take a short-term shot on Jay Cutler, whose contract is pretty favorable to the team right now, he has no guaranteed money. It's team option for the next 3 years. Why not? Why not take a shot for a year?
Skip, you and I both know. First of all, should someone sign him? No. Will they sign him? Yes, for the very reason that you listed. Great arm talent. He's still 33 years of age. For the most part, he hasn't had any lower leg injuries. He's had a few freak, thumb injury, shoulder injury, like some those nature. But when you look at it, Skip, he just doesn't care. He doesn't. You can tell the guys that football means something to. They live it. They die for it. And if he wins, okay, I'm going home to my kids and my wife. If they lose, okay, I'm going home to my wife and kids. And that's it. It comes across. He comes across as petulant. He comes across as apathetical. And those are 2 characteristics that you never want to have in a leader, especially at the quarterback position, Skip. And this is where we are. I'm trying to understand, help me understand this, Skip. What's going to be different in year 12 as opposed to the previous 11 years?
Okay, maybe Mike Shanahan is telling Kyle Shanahan that if you can plug him into the right system and live with his petulance or his nonchalance, that you can win with him because he does something that doesn't grow on trees in the NFL. He throws bullets and big touchdown passes.
And big interceptions.
Okay, he does.
Fumbles.
But again, if like Adam Gase appeared to have him sort of plugged into the right system and sort of calmed him down and got the best out of Jay Cutler for a run.
Think about it, Skip. How many head coaches has he had? How many offensive coordinators has he had? And everybody keeps saying, well, he keeps going through these offensive coordinators. What's the common denominator between all the coaches, the offensive coordinators, and the quarterback? It's him. Now, it was and I said this is not, as you like to say, hindsight. I said when they got Trestman and Cutler got hurt and Josh McCown played unbelievable.
He played really well.
That was their opportunity to get out from under Jay Cutler.
It was.
Because at some point in time, you have to realize and come to the realization, having an epiphany is the realization of, Jay Cutler is what he is, Skip. That's what he is. He is a turnover. Yeah. Is he armed? He's the 2.0 Jeff George. That's what he is, Skip. Jeff George could throw the ball 100 yards. Jeff George and I came out in the same draft in 1990. He was the number 1 overall pick. If you just watch him throw the football, you'd be hard-pressed to say someone can throw the football better than Jeff George. But that was all he can do. He doesn't rally guys. And at that quarterback position, you need to have guys that are run through.
Here's why that offends me on the Jeff George, because I know Jay well enough to tell you. Jeff George could be rock-headed. Jay Cutler has high football IQ. He just doesn't care. He just doesn't care. So
let me ask you a question. So if you know what to do and you don't do it,
that is correct,
as opposed to not know what to do and don't do it. So what's the difference?
That's the difference. That is the difference.
So when you really Skip, he's in year 11. He's gone to the playoffs one time. When do athletes have this revitalization in year 12, year 13? If you're a great player, okay, I get it. You might have an off year and then bounce back. But he's been off for 10 of his 11 years.
Okay, so what you're telling me, if you're the 49ers, you say no?
I don't want it. Skip, I'm trying to win.
If you're the Jets, you say no?
Skip, I'm trying to win. How you going to bring him in there? He doesn't win.
Okay, look at the Jets. Ryan Fitzpatrick, a guy you don't have a lot of use for because you say he's a every other year wonder, right? Yes. Okay, what's the difference between Ryan Fitzpatrick and Jay Cutler? One is an overachiever in Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's just going to do it within intangibles. Yeah. He's not big enough, and he doesn't have enough arm. Yeah. The other guy's a classic underachiever who just doesn't care. But he's got a huge arm, and he's 6'3", 250, and he can move around a little bit even at 33, because when he was at Vanderbilt, he could really move around.
Well, he's going to move around on someone else's team. He's not going to do it on my team when I have to pay probably 10. First of all, let's just get to the crux of this, Skip. The Chicago Bears put this out there because they're saying we can get a 6th or 7th round pick. They're going to release him because he's only going to count $2 million against the cap. He's not going to be on their roster. So they said they're open for discussion as far as trading him. Absolutely. Because why? Because if you look at it, the Dolphins were going to cut Brandon Albert. But once they find out, well, somebody might be interested, well, let me see if I can get me a pick for it.
Sure.
That's what they're trying to do with Jay Cutler. But, Skip, if I'm one of these, like San Francisco, I'm not bringing him. You can't bring him if you have any seriousness about winning.
So
you know what? I tell you what. You know who knows better than anybody? John Lynch. John Lynch played with him in Denver.
He did early.
So we'll find out.
And by the way, Jay Cutler made a Pro Bowl in Denver, so I guess John Lynch witnessed him making a Pro Bowl. Maybe John remembers that more than he remembers.
I tell you what he did. I tell you what John Lynch can't remember. Jay Cutler making a playoff in Denver.
Well, John wasn't part of that, right?
John Lynch went to the playoffs.
Well, I'm just saying, but he played with Jay Cutler when they did make the playoffs.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And he saw that.
So I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. Are you saying that your man, Mike Shanahan, who actually gave Shannon Sharpe the opportunity to be a Hall of Fame player, right?
Yep.
Are you saying he made a stupid draft pick of Jay Cutler?
No, it wasn't a stupid draft pick, Skip. I mean, the guy, he's talented, but he doesn't win. I have no problem. I have no argument. We've seen.
He wins like 8-8. He can win that way. He doesn't go, 14-2.
Why am I paying $15-16 million to go 8-8?
Because they don't grow on trees. That's why I'm not overly.
Those type of quarterbacks grow on trees.
I don't know about that.
Average quarterbacks that don't make the playoff, they grow on trees.
I don't know.
No, the Tom Brady's, the Peyton Manning, the Drew Breeses, the Roethlisbergers, they don't grow on trees. Oh, those quarterbacks like that are down.
Wait a second. Tom Brady grew his own tree. Right? He did. Yeah. Don't put him in
Tom Brady invented the seed that grew his own tree.
No mercy.
Deshaun Watson won the national championship last month, and most mock drafts have him as a top 10 pick. Now he's being compared to Dak Prescott. An NFL scout said the confidence between them is similar, and North Carolina defensive coordinator Gene Chizik said, quote, Dak is kind of what I see Deshaun being. Deshaun responded by saying, I wouldn't go off what Dak did. I'm not Dak Prescott. I'm not with the Cowboys. I'm Deshaun Watson coming from Clemson. Shannon, should Deshaun be compared to Dak?
No, and it's a lazy comparison. The only thing these two have in common, they're both black and they both wear the number 4. And every time a black quarterback comes out, they compare him to other black quarterbacks. Oh, he's like Cam. Oh, he's like this. Or he's like that. Why don't they ever compare him to Warren Moon? You notice when white quarterbacks come out, they don't get compared to Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or Drew Brees. It's a lazy comparison. And if you want to say they were similar, judge them on coming out in the draft. You can't look at Deshaun Watson coming out of Clemson this year and look at Dak, what he did last year. Do we look at Dak the same way if he's starting for Cleveland, if he's starting for the Jets? Outside of Ben Roethlisberger, no quarterback has ever gone into a better situation. You remember when Ben went to Pittsburgh, they had the bus. Willie Parker, had a very good defense, a young James Harrison, a young Troy Polamalu. Ideal situation. Hines Ward, Antoine Randall, a first-round tight end, and Jim Miller. Skip. That's an ideal situation. Dak is a fourth-round draft pick, and he falls into the lap with a team that has the best offensive line in football, a number one receiver, a tight end that has 1,000 catches, a very good slot receiver in Cole Beasley, and the highest graded running back to come out since Adrian Peterson. But now you can compare Deshaun Watson, who's coming out of Clemson, to Dak after what he did. He was a fourth-round pick. Did Dak have a first-round grade on it? Deshaun Watson had a first-round grade on it. So if you want to compare, look at what they did against the closest thing to NFL competition. Deshaun Watson in 2 games against Alabama, 825 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 INT, 116 rush yards, another TD. Split 1-1, won the national championship. Dak Prescott in 2 starts against Alabama, 0-2 I might add, 590 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 4 INTs, and 96 rush yards. Stop with these lazy comparisons and do homework and study them, throw for throw. Skip, look, both are very athletic. Dak came into the league with that body. He has a grown man body.
He does.
Deshaun Watson needs to put on 10, 15 pounds.
He does.
He has a wiry frame, and he needs to be able to play that position because, unfortunately, you're not going to the Cowboys. Well, you're not going to the Oakland Raiders, the teams that have the 2 best offensive lines in football. You're not going there. You're going somewhere where they have not as good as offensive line as those 2 teams I mentioned. So he's going to have to gain some weight to withstand that. Skip, they're athletic. Arms are very similar. Neither have a cannon, but they can make all the throws. They're very athletic. I think looking at them, I would have to go back and look at every throw. But it looks to me, just watching the tape from TV, Deshaun looks like he's a little more athletic than Dak.
A little bit.
But
I'll give you that.
But it's an unfair comparison because you're comparing Dak in Dallas and you're comparing him to a college kid that's coming into the draft. Compare them when they were coming out, and you tell me if Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson are similar.
I am with you on your first point. I get tired. I get weary of the black quarterback to black quarterback comparisons, and I wish we could mix up the comparisons and say, well, he reminds me of Tom Brady.
No, that never happened.
Okay, all right. Maybe it should. But if I then back off this and accept the question that Joy has asked us, do they compare at all? I find one area that they remind me of each other in, and that's the intangibles area. They both have high clutch factor to me, both of them. And while
Dak wasn't clutch in college.
Okay, I agree, but he didn't get the opportunities. He had 2 games against Alabama, and I watched both very carefully. The first one was that junior year when he was sensational all year, and they were number 1 in the nation for a week. And then he went to Tuscaloosa, and he fell apart in the 4th quarter. His team wasn't good enough. Deshaun had a better football team to go to battle with against St. Nick's defense, okay? Better weapons all around. They were just sort of doing it with smoke and mirrors at Mississippi State that year. So my point is, I've told you this before, Deshaun Watson has impressed me as clutch a quarterback as I've ever watched play college football.
Yes.
Because if you can do that in back-to-back championship games against St. Nick's defense, and you can throw 2 years ago for, 405, and then this year for 420, wow, 420 and 3 touchdowns, including one with 1 second left to win the national championship. That's all-time clutch.
That's very impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. But Dak showed me on an even bigger stage this year, the Dallas Cowboys stage. And don't underestimate, like you dismiss Dak as he fell into a great situation. I'm not sure that was a great situation.
You heard all year you complained that Dak wasn't getting the credit that he deserved.
Okay.
Everybody said he was a game manager. Is Deshaun Watson a game manager?
No. Heck no.
So let me ask you a question. If you put Deshaun Watson, if Deshaun Watson was playing for the Cowboys last year and Dak Prescott was playing for Clemson, does Clemson win the national championship?
Okay, but how many games does Dallas win? Because here's if you want to, again, I hate to do the black quarterback comparison, but Deshaun's not nearly as accurate as Dak is. Dak is much more accurate. No, he's just not. Look at the interceptions he threw last year.
Skip,
he's just not. He's a little more erratic.
Skip, we're looking at Dak in the prism of playing behind the best offensive line in football, and a top 2 running back.
Put him in this prison. He's having to make up for a below-average defense game after game after game with the pressure to live up to a 3-time Pro Bowl quarterback that he's replacing as a rookie starter in the National Football League with a rookie running back who didn't get off to the greatest start. Don't give me, this was simple, like you fell into a heavenly situation.
Skip, normally, there's a reason. Skip, he went in the 4th round. I just want to know this. If Dak Prescott is the starter for the Cleveland Browns, if Dak Prescott is the starter for the Jets, do those teams make the playoffs?
Last year.
Last
year's teams, well, the Browns are just all-time bad. Yeah, the Jets definitely make the playoffs. Definitely. I had them as a wild card team. So with Dak Prescott, you're underestimating how efficient he is, how consistent he is. He was a man when he stepped on the football field. He stands strong. You talked about his stature. He was made to play this game.
Because you can't look at him outside of the prism of being behind the Cowboys and playing with Zeke.
Okay, but you can't make a mistake. Your defense can't afford you to make a mistake. Because if you get them back on the field too fast, you're going to lose the game. How many times did I show you 12 plays, 75 yards, touchdown, 13 plays, 90 yards, touchdown? It's quiet efficiency. It's low risk, high reward. That's the way he plays.
He's handing the ball off to a back that's getting 5.5 yards on first down.
Yeah.
How many quarterbacks come into the league that play behind the number 1 offensive line? They have a number 1 receiver, a tight end that's caught for 1,000 yards, and the highest graded running back since Adrian Peterson. What quarterback comes into the league into that?
You're underestimating how hard it is to play rookie quarterback in the National Football League. Ben Roethlisberger was a game manager his first year. This guy had to make 3rd down throw after 3rd. Look how many 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6s he hit somebody, made the right pick, the right choice to throw the right ball.
But think about it, Skip. The voters said Zeke was more important. Zeke got 6 MVP votes. Dak Prescott got 1.
But who was the Rookie of the Year?
He was Rookie of the Year, but the writer said he was more valuable.
Well, that's a contradiction because this guy should have been Rookie of the Year because his degree of difficulty was much higher than Zeke's. You know it, and I know it.
But see, this is what you do, Skip. You look at the quarterback because it's the hardest position to play. It's the most talked about position, and then you overvalue it, Skip. I believe
overvalue.
So let me ask you a question.
It's a quarterback's game. It belongs to the quarterback.
So Carson Wentz couldn't have done what the Dallas Cowboys with Dak did.
Heck no. Man, he's an interception.
We got a late start. Did you go by the bar? What bar is open that time in the morning?
No, I don't do that. I don't.
You got to do something. You're talking crazy.
I didn't even drink any dew this morning. I didn't. We're late in the day. I just thought.
we didn't have to be here till 6 o'clock. Yeah. You did something, Skip, because you're talking crazy right now.
No, I'm talking wisdom, and you know it, and I know it.
I don't know.
No mercy.
Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather have had an ongoing war of words. Now Floyd's dad is getting involved. Floyd Mayweather Sr. was shown a video of McGregor boxing earlier this month and had strong opinions of Conor's skills. Let's take a listen.
His boxing skill is nothing. I'll beat his ass myself.
So you're not impressed with this at all?
I'm not impressed at all. And if my son decides that he didn't want to do it, I'll take it over. I'll do it.
Oh.
And beat his ass.
So you'll fight him?
I guarantee you I will beat his ass. If this is the way he's fighting, I will beat his ass. He can't whoop me with that right there. And I'm a 63-year-old man.
Skip, would Floyd Sr. beat Conor McGregor?
Speaking of
Repeat
crazy,
what he said.
Speaking of crazy, as in laughably crazy, there are times I listen to Floyd Sr. and I fear he took one too many punches to the head.
He sound fine to me.
Oh, I'll bet
no
he
slurred
did.
speech.
You know what?
I'll beat his.
You know what? This is the fight, quote unquote, I would pay to see. Though I fear that Floyd Sr. wouldn't even last as long as, remember, Michael Spinks against Tyson. That's how long this fight would last. A minute and a half.
Skip, you need to stop.
No, I don't. And yet I do remember that Floyd Sr. was the one who originally taught Junior how to run in the ring. So maybe Floyd Sr., if he got in some kind of distance running shape, he might be able to outrun Conor for maybe a couple of rounds. But when Conor caught up to him,
you know what I'm starting to see? You hating on Floyd Sr. Because he's a 60-something-year-old like yourself, and he's in great shape. You hating. You in the haters club.
Wait, you're saying I'm not in great shape when I'm in way better shape than you are across the table? And I'm like 15, 20 years older than you, and I'm way better shape? You couldn't even begin to run with me? Want to go run right now? I'll go run right now. I'll go. There's a great course right across the street.
Eggs are shaped
Yeah.
Apples are shaped. Pears are shaped. Statuesque.
Wait, Michelin Man.
We're not talking about me. I'm talking about Floyd Sr.
Yeah.
Floyd Sr. said, look here, if my son don't want to kick the brakes off him,
all right,
let me have it.
Yep.
He said, I will beat his. He's looking at it like, you see, I'll beat it if that's what he brings to the table.
I hope that Senior convinces Junior to risk his 49-0 legacy against the baddest man on the planet, because bad things are about to happen to Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Joy Taylor, where else can a man go and for under 40 minutes make $500 million, be 50-0 at the end of the night, and be the undisputed?
Yep.
You know what? 5 divisions. Do you know what 5 divisions mean, Skip? From 130.
Won't matter at all on this night if 35, it ever happens. Yep.
40, yep. 47, 54.
Baddest man on the planet.
All them belts.
Underrated boxer, Conor McGregor, can punch. Floyd can't punch it. Floyd's 40 years old. He turns 40 on Friday.
I remember Floyd.
Happy birthday, Floyd. You're 40. You're a has-been. You're washed up.
Floyd used to come in the ring, Skip. About 7, 8 guys got like 4 or 5 belts apiece. I'm like, what are you doing with all these belts?
Yep.
He had all the belts.
You know what? Conor would take a belt. That's what he would.
Conor gonna get nothing.
Speaking of getting belted.
Skip. You know, back in the day, you know, you get in the fight and you lost the fight, you like, I'm going home to get my big brother. You know, I'm going home to get my daddy. Well, I ain't never have to do that because, you know, I handle my business.
I would hope you did.
But Floyd Mayweather, you know what? Floyd Sr. said, I will let my son handle you. But if my son don't want it, I want it. And I don't even need $500 million. Just give me a couple of million, I'm going to beat the brakes off you.
I can't wait for this to happen, but I fear that Junior is just a lot smarter than Senior at this stage of life, and that Junior is way too shrewd to risk doing this against Conor.
Junior going to get him. Floyd Mayweather going to get him, and you going to stuff that bag with all the rats.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening, guys. Remember to subscribe on iTunes. Leave us a review. We love hearing from you guys. Remember, we're back at our regular time tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Eastern on FS1. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports. One of one.